that we just had our lunch.
Very rough.
Hello and good day to everyone. This is Attorney Angel. First of all, I hope that you are all coping well with the MECQ and that you are staying healthy and staying safe and doing your own part in helping our medical frontliners. And most of all, I hope that you are not forgetting to pray. And we can now proceed with today's discussion on the election offenses. There are many election offenses listed under the Omnibus Election Code or the OEC. Primarily, you can find them in Section 261 of the OEC and also in 262 of the OEC. There are other related provisions as well, like Section 266 of the OEC, as well as other special laws like RA 6646 and RA 9006. Okay, and these are the major categories of election offenses that you can find in these provisions and in these special laws. And it varies from the involvement of money, the use of firearms and deadly weapons. And it also varies in the persons involved or the offenders, such as the voters, the candidates themselves, the members of the board of canvassers. And it also includes the different stages in an election process, such as in the filing of the certificate of candidacy, the campaign, the voting itself, the canvassing, the counting, etc. So I trust that you will read all these topics and all these subject matters on election offenses. Now, Now, for purposes of this presentation, I will enumerate to you the top 10 election offenses based on the complaints filed with the COMELEC, but we will be discussing only the top 1. And then the other 9 will be featured in the next presentation in the following weeks. So let's start. So we have vote buying and vote selling, which you can find in Section 261A of the OEC. Next, we have threats, intimidation, terrorism, use of fraudulent device or other forms of coercion found in Section 261E of the OEC. Third, we have unlawful electioneering, found in Section 261K of the OEC. Fourth, conspiracy to bribe voters, found in Section 261B of the OEC. Fifth, use of public funds, money deposited in trust, equipment, facilities owned or controlled by the government for an election campaign, found in Section 2610 of the OEC. Sixth, we have intervention of public officers and employees, found in Section 261I of the OEC. Seventh, tampering with or changing without authority any data or entry in any voter's application for registration, found in Section 261Y7 of the OEC. Eighth, we have transfer of officers and employees in the civil service, found in Section 261H of the OEC. 9, we have gun ban violations, which you can find in Section 261Q of the OEC and also found in Sections 32 and 33 of RA 7166, otherwise known as the Gun Ban Law. And last but not the least, number 10, voting in substitution for another, whether with or without the latter's knowledge and or consent, which is found in Section 261Z3 of the OEC. Let us now proceed to vote buying and vote selling, particularly the elements of these election offenses. Now, for the elements of these election offenses, I would like you to look at and note about the party committing the offense or the offender, as well as the acts in the commission of these election offenses. So let's start with vote buying. In vote buying, the party considered as the offender can be any person, any natural person. And that offender may either give, offer, or promise money or anything of value, just like in sale. Okay? Or the offender may give or promise any office or employment or franchise or grant, whether public or private. Or that the offender makes or offers to make an expenditure, whether directly or indirectly, or that the offender may cause an expenditure to be made to any person, association, corporation, entity, or community. Now, this is what I was telling you. Look at the party committing the offense. So the offender here is any person, any natural person who commits any of these acts. Now, particularly for the act, uh, the purpose of the act, okay? So you look at this and take note of this, that the act was done by the offender in order to induce anyone or the public in general to vote for or against any candidate or withhold his vote in the election, or that the act was done to vote for or against any aspirant for the nomination or choice of a candidate in a convention or similar selection process of a political party. Okay. So for the elements of vote selling, you will notice that the party committing the offense or the offender is not this includes not only a natural person, but the offender may be a juridical person such as an association, a corporation, a group, or community. Okay? And with respect to the acts, that such offender solicits or receives directly or indirectly any expenditure or promise of any office or employment, public or private, and that the act was done, here is the purpose, in consideration of voting for or against any candidate or withholding his vote in the election, or voting for or against any aspirant for the nomination or choice of a candidate in a convention or similar selection process of a political party. You may wonder how much is the going rate nowadays for a single vote. So in the next slide, I will discuss with you how much a vote is worth these days according to the COMELEC based on the records of the National Citizens Movement for Free Elections, or the NAMFREL. But I would just like to remind you, never, never, never sell your vote, and never, never, never be involved in vote buying if ever you become candidates for an elective position. Your vote is a reflection of your conscience. Never, never compromise your values and your principles. The vote is very, very important. It is the great equalizer, as we said. And if you put the wrong people as your leaders, you are compromising not just your lives, our country, your families, you're compromising the future generations and their welfare. So look at us now. But I will not go into that. Let's just hope that with what is happening right now, that the people will use their votes wisely or will vote wisely, and that they will vote for the right people. Anyway, okay. So let's proceed. So again, according to the records of NAMFREL, based on the materials given to us by the Commission on Elections, a single vote in Ilocos Norte is worth about 3,500 pesos. And a single vote in Ilocos Sur is worth 3,000 pesos. And in Zamboanga, Sibugay, as far as Zamboanga, Sibugay, and Tawi-Tawi, there is vote buying, vote selling. 2,000 pesos in Zamboanga Sibugay and 100 pesos in Tawi-Tawi. See, that 100 pesos is not even worth the load for your online classes. And in the Cagayan province, the going rate is between 1,000 to 5,000 pesos. Well, it's equivalent to at least an appearance fee or a very simple preparation of a pleading. But my gosh, remember what I told you. Never, never sell your vote. Never, never be involved in vote buying. According to the COMELEC, there are four vote buying and vote selling corrupt practices which are rampant in our country today. And these are house to house buying, vote buying stations, signed receipts, and vote buying or vote selling with terrorism. So you may have experienced the house to house buying wherein they go house to house and they pay you as much as 1,000 to 1,500 per person. Or if not in cash, it may be through the form of goods or groceries, or in the form of goods or groceries. And these are given during campaign rallies and campaign house to house activities. And also, they buy votes, sometimes on a wholesale approach, like per family, per household, per group, or per establishment. And for vote buying stations, the number of vote buying stations would usually depend on the number of districts for provinces and the number of barangays in a city or a municipality. And again, it may be either in cash or groceries or goods, and even farm implements or instruments or equipment or supplies, in like just like in far-flung provinces. And these activities intensify as the election date draws nearer. And what is shocking is that some candidates, they even resort to bidding just to corner or gain votes, meaning the highest bidder. Okay. And then we have signed receipts. Now, for signed receipts, the candidates become more practical nowadays, or they want to make sure that uh, the money that they gave for vote buying were really distributed by their coordinators. So what they do is that the money is usually attached to a sample ballot, and then the recipients are asked to sign an acknowledgement receipt, and that these are given to the candidates by their coordinators, so that the candidates will be able to trace that the coordinators indeed distributed the money. And last but not the least is vote buying or vote selling with terrorism, wherein this is usually rampant or predominant in the southernmost parts of the country, and like Mindanao. Okay, there is threat, there is terrorism, there is use of violence, etc. To be continued. Thank you very much for listening. We're on the road to 700. Thank you very much, my fellow angels. Please like, subscribe, share, and follow. Be kind, be a blessing to others, and always glorify God with a grateful heart. This is Attorney Angel, and I'm your legal angel.